Okay, post painting update. Everything has now been painted, airbrushed. It's come out quite satisfactorily, I think. Looks okay. Series stripes have gone okay. The aircraft I was looking at, the reference I was looking at online showed that the series stripes didn't run over the slats on certain aircraft, and they didn't run over the bottom of the flaps on certain aircraft. There's just mix and match of different types and styles of, well, they're all the same type, I suppose, but the way they work and the way they ran over the control surfaces was different. Again, the aircraft, some of the aircraft I looked at had cutouts in the black and yellow where the code letters would go. Some of the code letters were covered by the black and yellow, some of the code letters went over the black and yellow. So I just thought I'd do it as no particular aircraft. I do like accuracy, but I'm not bothered if, for instance, like it might have the wrong, it'll have generally, you know, instead of the number 351, it might have 423. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, that. Unless I'm actually building a specific pilot's aircraft, as it were. So I'm just going to use decals from the spares box. I've got a Vampire that I'm going to use the roundels, not Vampire, sorry, a Venom that I'm going to use the roundels from. I've got bits, I think is it from an old Hunter, I think, that I've got some lettering from. I've got bits of lettering and then bits of white decal sheet that I've cut up into letters that I'm going to use just to create the decals. I'm then going to, once the decals are down, I'm going to weather it, basically. Obviously weathering it after the decals are down so that the decals achieve the same level of weather as the rest of the aircraft. It's gone nicely, the paintwork. I'm pleased with it. I've put some tonal variation on the blue. I can increase or decrease that with some oil paint later. I like working in oils for weathering. You can see the cockpits come out quite nice. I was thinking to myself while I was spraying, what's the purpose of doing this blog? As I said, I was doing it because of the it's partly to do with my uni course, but I'm thinking, what message could I get across in a blog? Why am I doing this in this sense? And I would say it's to show that we without massive investments in time. I think it's brilliant. You watch people that say, although they spent 3,000 hours building this, you know, they spent 5 solid years of your life building it. Models don't hold my attention that long. I like to get on with a model, work through it. I probably, by the time I've finished this, I might have sat at the bench maybe 35, 40 hours perhaps, sat at the bench. Working on it. I think there's probably, if I tallied it up, maybe 2 hours, 2.5, maybe 3 hours of video. It might be less than that. Next time I do one, I'll tally it up. It might be as low as 25 hours sat at the bench really working on it. I don't keep time, like I said, I build for myself entirely, so I'm quite happy. Oh, you can see there, you can see how the seats, just visible in there. You can see how the radio box is just visible. Some interior, it'll even be even less visible when the doors are sat in place. I'm just going to stand that out of the way so it'll help it dry without sitting on the radome. All the other components, nice and dry now. All looking okay. All taking the paint well. So I can do a couple more sub-assemblies coming up and then weathering. But yeah, why am I doing the blog? You don't need expensive tools. I've used sandpaper, knives, bit of body filler, you know, basic paints. Always exclusively use Tamiya paints. I find some of the other stuff's a bit rubbery and I find it peels. I don't like it. Tamiya, I think, is by far and away the best paint you can get for, you know, thinned properly. Every time I get a jar, I just put 50%, I top the jar to the top with thinners. And it makes perfect airbrushing paint. So I'm doing it to show things can be done relatively quickly. Things can be done relatively cheaply, other than the purchase of the kit. No fancy special equipment. I don't know what else. You know, things. It's difficult to actually think why I thought about doing a video blog, as it were. But hopefully for just people to see things that come together. And it's not extreme model making. It's not model making that many would aspire to do, because they're only just average display models for myself. You know, there are some model makers out there. I'd heartily recommend you having a look at David Glenn's work. You can see him on the internet, on Facebook. He's built 3 superb models, large scale, 5th scale, of 2 Spitfires and a Mustang. Beautiful model making though, beautiful work. But different type of model making entirely. He uses machine tools, machine shop tools, mills, lathes, milling machines, things like that. This is literally knife, tweezers. I'm looking at the tools I've been using. Knife, tweezers, couple of paint brushes, thinner, liquid glue, bit of plastic card, ruler for cutting, a little bit of reference off the internet, a few tins of Tamiya paint, a little bit of car body filler, a little bit of balsa wood. But all, you know, just sat down, thought about how to approach it, how to achieve it. And you can see now that you can't tell here and here where the trying to get it flashing in the light so you can see it, but you can't tell there was they're not kit parts, as it were, you know. So it looks okay, it looks the part. So I'm going to come back shortly with another video with the decals on, and I'll be doing a bit of weathering, and there might be a couple more sub assemblies put together, because I like heavily worn aircraft. So I will see you shortly.